Cam got word that you were coming here. He was at an event, and a fan kind of told him about it, surprised him about it. He said he was going to text you and call you right away. Did he do that, and what's that conversation been like?
Yeah, no, he texted me, and he even finished his message with Cam Jurgen, like, the little dash Cam Jurgen. I'm like, I still have your number saved, dude. But, yeah, no, he just said he was super pumped, super excited. I obviously asked him everything I needed to know as like a rundown real quick of what the city of Philly has to offer. So, I'm excited to be back with him, be back in the college days.
What were the battles like with you and him, like when you guys were in college together?
I mean, Cam's good. I mean, Cam was a really good player in college, and being definitely a younger guy, being able to go against him definitely made me better and kind of understand, what it's going to take to play at the college level. Then obviously you see him starting to now for you guys, so it's definitely proven that he was pretty good in college as well.
How much do you think he helped your specific development going against him?
I mean, just technique-wise, like obviously, I'm a big body as well, but he had a lot more technique, he had a lot more strength and power underneath that, so it just helped me kind of understand of how to deal with those types of guys.
Do you have a sense yet of how you'll be used in this defense? I know you have a lot of versatility.
Nope. First day, I'm just excited to learn everything I can. Obviously, I'm going to try and learn all the positions, but wherever they want me, I'll play.
You mentioned med school sort of in the future, but you're in a city that's pretty well known for its hospitals, Chops Creek Hospital. Do you plan to use any of that resources to your advantage?
Most definitely. I'm definitely going to have to find the right people to kind of, be an outreach, kind of go out in the community and do those types of things. That's something I would love to do for the city.
Matt Rule knows Philly well, knows this organization well. What did he tell you when you got there?
He said I went to a great and the best organization in the NFL. So with that, I'll take that any day of the week.
What do you know about Jalen Carter, his skill set, and how your skill set can potentially complement him at home?
Obviously, you saw over the last year that how dominant he was, how he just played the game. I'm just here to learn from those guys, watch them, take everything I can from the teachings, and try to implement that and learn my role within the room.
Being older than most rookies, does that give you any kind of advantage as far as just the strength, the experience? You played a lot of college ball.
I'm sure from the experience standpoint, but someone in my position could also play for 6 years, and then that's it for them as well. So I feel like experience for the most part, and then definitely just I think the dedication and sacrifice I've made to working to get to this point. So I'm excited to keep that going.
From your conversation with Cam and just like what you knew about Philadelphia and Philly sports, is there anything that you took away where like you see yourself fitting into this Philly sports culture, and what kind of aspects of your own personality on and off the field do you think will work here in Philly?
How crazy and dedicated the fans are to their teams here. It's definitely something that I've been used to with Nebraska since, they all love their football there. So I'm excited to embrace that part of the culture as well with the fans.
You loaded up on classes coming out of that one semester, just going in with the holding playbook. What's your approach?
Just take it one step at a time. Obviously with the first day install, I'm going to be studying that till I get the next part of the install. And then, you just kind of connect the puzzle pieces together to kind of help yourself go out there and play fast instead of trying to remember what you have to do.
What are your first impressions of Clint Hurd?
From what I've seen, he's awesome. It's definitely the type of coach I want to play for. He seems very passionate, which is something I look for in a coach, especially towards the players in the room. And he definitely wants to help develop every guy in the room as well, which is something I want to do.
How everyone doing?
Great.
What's been your first impression getting to know him?
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what's been your first impressions of getting to know Christian Parker?
He's a great cat. He's one of the guys that's going to come in and work hard. I haven't spoke with him that much, but we have had a little conversation just about our past lives.
What's it like being out there for the first time, getting the walkthrough?
It was great. I've been training for like the combine and things like that. So just getting back on that field and getting back into that game speed, I felt it. I felt real good about it, and I'm just here to work.
A couple of your teammates have said this is a really surreal feeling.
Definitely.
To be here for the first time. How do you feel? What are the emotions around it?
Yeah, I'm anxious. I'm definitely blessed with the opportunity. God put me here I had a lot of ups and downs in my career, you know, just growing up. But I made sure I let the main thing be the main thing, and I made sure I stayed the course.
How helpful was it to face guys like Travis Hunter, McMillan, the 2 Iowa State guys? You faced a lot of guys that got
Yes, sir.
How helpful was that?
Definitely. It was helpful a lot, you know. See them guys right now, they're doing their things in the league right now, they're getting drafted high. So, you know, just going out there and having the ability to line up against them is fun. You know, I'm all for the come. I think I did great, you know. I feel like I don't back down for nobody, and I'm with whatever.
Ups and downs at this point, what are you referring to?
You know, just things that happened in my past life, you know, just the family members that passed away from me, you know, just a lot of things, you know, just mental things, you know.
Have you been thinking a lot about those things over the last week or so?
Not really. Like I said, I was letting the main thing be the main thing. I'm here right now in Philadelphia, so it's just all about the team and whatever they need me to do.
Yeah, Antwaun said for most of his career, people have always made a lot about his size and being undersized. But he's just a ball player, and the tape speaks for himself. Do you kind of have that same attitude? Because obviously you had great film, especially to get to this point. But when people nitpick, they will say you're too undersized to play on the outside. Just what do you think of that, and how has that maybe driven you throughout your career?
I try really not to think about it. I go out there with the same mindset. I'm the biggest out there. That's how I feel. So, you know, just having that mindset, I really feel like it take me a lot.
3 cornerbacks who played a lot of snaps last year aren't here anymore. How do you feel like the opportunity is going to be for you? Like if you do well in camp, that you're going to get a chance to get some playing time?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm whatever the team needs. If it's special teams, if it's offense or defense, anything, I'm whatever the team needs. So, you know, just having them vet guys here, just talking to me, you know, getting me a little bit of knowledge, you know, I'm just soaking it all in.
The mindset that you're the biggest guy out there, where's that come from?
Since I was little, you know, like you were saying, I always been the littlest guy. So, you know, just having the right mindset, you know, just taking everything for what it is. So, all my life, I knew I was always going to be undersized. I knew I wasn't going to grow as much as I wanted to. So, you know, just always having that dog in me and just thinking above, never thinking too low.
Where do you kind of see yourself fitting in the secondary? Like, do you see yourself more as a nickel or an outside guy?
Like I said, it's whatever the team needs. My first day out here, when we were doing a little walkthroughs, I was at the corner position first, but I progressed there. I feel like I wanted to play in the nickel a little bit, but whatever the team needs, I'm here for it.
This time last year, you're in the transfer portal. Leaving a 4-1 team. Is this something you saw for yourself that you think you'd be in this spot 1 year later?
Definitely. Like I said, once I got here, I always wanted the Super Bowl ever since I was little. So, and they previously just came off from a Super Bowl win, so let's run it back.
Last one, we got to get time.
What's the biggest challenge between playing outside and inside? Was one harder than the other in your mind?
Nah, I wouldn't say none of them was harder. At the nickel position, it's just a little bit more of thinking because, you know, you have to run support and different gap schemes and things like that. So that's really the main thing.
Obviously, when you get drafted, there's a period where you're celebrating. It's a honeymoon. It's a real feeling.
Yeah.
How did it feel to put on the jersey for the first time and know that honeymoon period is kind of over and this is kind of like the first day of the rest of your career and it's time to prove your worth?
It was crazy. I was just, kept thinking about how blessed I was, to be in this opportunity and then, to be like here, with the Eagles. But I kind of like snapped out of it pretty quickly. Like I was like, I'm here. It's time to work. It's time to go ahead and, keep getting better. So I snapped out of it pretty quickly. But it was a blessing for sure, though. That's what it seemed like. Everybody over here, yeah, hopefully.
Has it already been helpful to have those guys around here?
Yeah, for sure. Like they making me feel like comforted and like welcome, coming in. Like really when I got drafted, like Nakobe was the first person I called. So, talking to Nakobe, talking to Nolan, talking to JC, talking to all them, like they're just really telling me how everything is and just, making me feel comfortable.
What's been a piece of advice that's kind of stuck out to you that they've told you coming into this process and starting your career with the Eagles?
Really the main thing is like coming from Georgia, like just keep doing what I did to get here, don't change, don't get here and let up, think I'm here now, get here and even go harder. So just keep doing what I did to get me here. Don't forget what got me here. What are your initial experiences with Bobby King like? What's your relationship It's been good. You know, we kind of just now getting around each other, you know, for real. But like off the bat though, it was real good. You know, he seemed like a real genuine person. And then even before the draft though, talking to N'Kobe, you know, N'Kobe loves him. So N'Kobe was telling me a lot about him. And then, you know, so it's only up from here. Parts I like about him, he's a real good coach. You know, goes into detail, and then he's understanding. You know, no question a dumb question. You know, as a rookie coming in, you know, a lot of times like you might be scared to speak up and ask something, you know, because you new in the room or whatever. But he makes guys feel like comfortable, like asking questions and everything. So like he's a good coach and a good teacher.
You're close with a number of the guys you said, but N'Kobe specifically because, you know, he plays inside linebacker as well.
Yes, sir.
How helpful is he not only here but in general to you?
Even in general, like before I got here, like I used to call N'Kobe a lot during like the draft process, or even when I was still playing at Georgia, and then he would give me little tips here and there. So like he's been like a real big help. You know, N'Kobe like my big brother. You know, I came into Georgia as a freshman, and then to see N'Kobe win the butt kiss, I've been looking up to him for many years now. So like to get here and then like to have him still like lead me, guiding the ways, it's been good. It's been a blessing.
Are you familiar at all? Like, did you have any interactions with Jahad Campbell when he was at Alabama? Like, did you guys ever cross paths?
Nah, not while he was at Bama. I mean, we had mutual friends and mutual teammates. So like I've heard of him, but we haven't really like crossed paths for real though.
Do you enjoy playing to the name Smael?
The background, I'm named after my dad, so I'm a junior. There's a little story about that, but I'll get into that probably another time though. But yeah, I'm a junior though. I'm named after my dad.
Do you enjoy playing? To meet Jahad, what have been some of your early impressions of him, both as an athlete and also as just a person?
As an athlete, I mean, I seen him at the combine, and then like I watched a lot of SEC ball though, so I seen him, balling for the last couple of years though. He's real athletic. I feel like we got like physically we got like some similar features with our athleticism, but he's a good player though for sure. Real athletic, real fast, physical. And then as a person though, we're kind of just now starting to get to know each other for real. But like just off the bat, or what people had told me about him though, he seemed like a cool person for sure.
Do you have any familiarity with Zach Vaughn and the season he had last year?
Yeah. I watched a lot of Eagles balls last year, just because of the guys that I had on the team from Georgia. So I watched them a lot.
What are your impressions?
He's a real good player. Really instinctive, like a good leader. Like I feel like whenever your leadership kind of pops out on tape, it's kind of like really noticeable. So I feel like he's a good player and a good leader.
Do you enjoy playing special teams, and do you have a favorite unit to play on?
Yeah, for sure. Special teams like the way I got on the field at Georgia, and then I would have stayed on there. They would have kept me on there. So special teams is like, I feel like it's a lot of guys' intro, and then so I kind of grew a big love for special teams at UGA. And then as far as like a favorite unit, I'd probably say the most fun I had while playing was kickoff, for sure.
When players get a hold of your playbook, I'm kind of interested in how they attack it. What's kind of your own personal approach to it?
My own personal approach to it, really just kind of keep going over it. Like, personally, like if let's say I'm writing notes on a call, I'll probably try to write the notes on the call, like reading it from a PowerPoint, and then I'll like flip the page, wait probably like 20 minutes, and I'll try to go back and then rewrite it, like without looking at nothing. And then I'll kind of just keep trying to do it like that till like I get it down pat.
Like all the Georgia guys that get here and in the league in general are just so prepared for the NFL. What is it in Athens that kind of gets college kids ready for the NFL mentally and physically?
I feel like it's the coaching. It's the program Coach Smart runs, and then the coaching Coach Schumann runs. Like a lot of the stuff Coach Schumann taught me, he was teaching me that like my freshman year, and it didn't really come into like need until the draft process. So he does a real good job getting guys ready to be like professionals. And then Coach Smart as well, like with the way they practice, the way we compete, the way they hold meetings. So I feel like just the Georgia program in general, Coach Smart, Coach Schumann, those guys helped me a lot.
Talking about watching a lot of Eagles games last year, what's your thoughts on how Vic uses linebackers, or how I guess you're fitting into that defense as a linebacker? What impressed you about the way Vic used Zach and N'Kobe, the rest of those guys?
Just the way those guys were able to like do different things. Seeing them play off each other, play off their strengths. So it was really good to see. And then I feel like the defense kind of like I feel like the linebackers kind of fueled the defense. So just seeing everybody works together, seeing their communication, it was real good.
We got Antwaun next. Thank you. Were there any nerves out there today, as you kind of start the next chapter of your career? Obviously, if there were, it's kind of natural.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some nerves, of day one in the new building, new system, getting out there. I'm glad, we were able to do a walkthrough and kind of get those nerves out and really take what you learn in the film room out to the field. That really helps everything click. But a little bit of nerves, but it was fun nerves. It was good nerves.
What are your first impressions of Stout now that you're in the building with him and you get to see it up close?
Yeah, he's the man. He's been great so far, really teaching us a lot. He's really trying to push us in the film room, make sure we're getting caught up to speed. But no, he's been great. He wants the best for us. He's going to coach us really hard because he wants us to be great players. So I've loved working with him so far, and I'm really looking forward to continuing it.
Eagles listed you as a center/guard. You had to move to guard. What's your experience?
Yeah, played some guard in high school. When I got to BC, I had to learn how to play center. So I played center all the way through BC. So, I pride myself on doing a lot of things, but just doing whatever the coaches asked me to do and doing it at the highest level possible. So just looking forward to that.
Howie Roseman was talking the other day about how, like, some people take for granted the snap of a center, which is almost always out of a shotgun now. How difficult was that to learn, and did you struggle with it at first?
Yeah, definitely doesn't. It doesn't come natural, You're pulling the ball in between your legs and having to run sideways, depending on the play, but you have to do a lot of different things. And not only is the snap hard, but it can be challenging mentally as a young center trying to learn the position. So there's a lot of things that go into it. But, I would say, like, when you first get started going at center, it's not as easy as it looks at first. So, just like anything with 1,000 repetitions, you start to get it down and you start to get a lot more comfortable with it. It just takes time.
Have you gotten a chance to talk to either Cam Jurgens or Jason Kelsey yet?
I have. I talked to Cam this morning, just introduced myself, said hi to him, and, just small talk, but nothing too crazy yet.
You were 7 when your dad stopped playing. What's like growing up in there?
It was cool. It was really special. I kind of learned from a young age what it's like to play in the NFL. Obviously not my own perspective. I was 7, but learning from my dad and seeing how he was approaching his everyday life, what it takes to be a pro. I was able to learn that from a young age, and, growing up, you always want to be like your dad, right? So seeing that at a young age, it was really special, and that was kind of where my dreams started. I still remember a lot of the days when I was 7. So looking back, standing at FedEx Field, on the sideline before a game, it was special. So, I was very blessed to be in that position from a young age.
What's the biggest lesson that he's taught you about being a pro that will help you go forward?
I'd say take care of your body. He played for, I think it was 13, maybe 12 seasons, but, that doesn't happen on accident. He was a pro, taking care of his body, making sure he was ready to go every Sunday and for every practice. So just staying on top of that.
How much responsibility did you have at BC in setting protections and making line calls?
I did everything at BC from the IDs and making the line calls. And, luckily I've been coached by a lot of great offensive line coaches and Coach O'Brien and Coach Halfley. So, they've really got me right and got me going on that and put me in a good spot.
Those memories on the sideline, and imagine how massive everything might have seemed.
Yeah.
And to go into it gradually from, small middle school, whatever up, like what perspective have you from the beginning about the bottom up process?
Yeah, I just really fell in love with the game from that point. I haven't really even thought, like, obviously, big picture, you think about it, but I was more so just in love with playing football. And that's really where it came from. So I was never really too focused on the big picture of going back in that big stadium. At least then I was just, I loved playing tight end. I loved playing defensive end, getting a sack. It was just those moments that, built me up to where I am now.
The fact that they list you when they drafted you as guard center or center guard, does that tell you maybe there's some reps at guard in your future, and are you looking forward to that if it happens?
Definitely. You got to be able to do a bunch of different things. You got to add value to the team. So the more you can do, the better. So that's all I'm really hoping to do, is add value to this team this year, and, be able to contribute to a winning team. So whatever the coaches ask me to do, I'm going to do at the highest level possible.
As someone coming up as a center, how familiar were you with the center tradition here, with Kelsey during his time, and obviously Cam last year?
Extremely familiar. I grew up that was my favorite tape to watch, favorite center to watch. Growing up was Jason Kelsey. So I'm very familiar. He did amazing, incredible things here. It's very special building, very special place to play center. So I take that with a lot of honor.
You like specifically that he did
I love the way he pulled, got out in space and, really attacked the second level. He got on the second level really fast and really stressed the linebackers. So I thought that was really good, and that really made the run game go. So that was a really special thing that he did. I'm getting there, yeah.
If they were to move you to guard, what do you think the challenges are of going back to that position after not playing since high school?
Yeah, just like I said with playing center, when you're learning to play center, it takes thousands of repetitions. So, switching between center to guard to center, you just have to rep it like crazy. And you got to be a little weird about it, and you got to really make sure you're staying on top of it and doing extra work and, learning from the older guys that have experience doing that stuff. So really just trying to utilize all your resources you have, leaning on people that can give you advice, and then just staying on top of your own stuff and making sure you're putting in the work.
How much does playing center, do you think, help in that versatility? In other words, you're talking about all your knowledge of ID protections and things like that. How much does that help to know that if you're moving out to guard?
Yeah, it definitely helps, but it's a little bit of a different world. Center, you've got a lot of help, a lot of plays. Guard, a lot of times you don't have help. So it definitely helps because all the intricacies of the offense and like how things are supposed to be run and where the ball is, how many steps the quarterback's taking. Like I feel like at center, you really take pride in that versus, potentially if you're at other positions, you don't necessarily need to know all of that. So I think that would definitely help me moving out to guard, just kind of being really dialed in on the offense. But yeah, definitely.
Last one, DJ.
I imagine you're not the only young center who has taken parts of Jason Kelsey's game and tried to emulate it. I guess just in general, how influential do you think he is in the center position?
I mean, in my lifetime, probably the most influential center there's been playing in the National Football League. What he did in Philly was incredible. Just such a great talent and such a great guy. So just watching him on film and watch him in his press conferences, he's just a stand-up guy. So he's definitely changed the game. Thank you, guys.
How are you?
Good to go? Yeah, all right. Kyle, obviously you get drafted is an amazing moment, but honeymoon phase kind of over. Now you got to get to work. What did it feel like to put on the jersey for the first time and actually be out there and start to prove your worth and really officially start your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to finally be done with all the pre-draft stuff and now to know where I'm headed, the offense that I'm going to be playing in, and the guys I'm going to be playing around. So can start to know what you're building towards. So it's exciting. Obviously, first day, just working everything out, but it's been a good start, a good first 24 hours.
What are your early impressions on NFL football?
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to be at Ohio State and Syracuse, where we had a lot of NFL content. Both coordinators, Coach Day and then Coach Nixon, were in the NFL, so a lot of their stuff was from the league. But a lot of new terminology and just trying to be a sponge and pick it up as quick as possible.
What are the benefits of throwing as much as you guys threw last year? And I guess you kind of see everything, you experience everything that way.
Yeah, I mean, we saw pretty much every single coverage you could think of at the collegiate level, and ran a bunch of different concepts, and and that's what the NFL is. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be throwing the volume that we did necessarily, but you're going to see a lot of different coverages, and it's going to force you to make good reads and be smart with the ball. And so that was a really good experience last year going through that.
You have the reputation of being a gunslinger, and for better or worse, some people say, careless with the ball sometimes. How do you feel about that label, and do you think it's fair?
I would say the first half of the season last year, I would say that's fair. But towards the second half, I think the last 6 games I only had 1 interception, and I forget the exact numbers, like 230-something attempts without interception. So that was definitely something that even last year, midway through the season, that I knew I needed to clean up, and I thought I did a good job of that. And so now it's just continuing to have that same mindset on this level now.
Now you got a lot of rookies all around you that really don't know the area. Are they turning to you for advice on where to go, where to eat, all that kind of stuff?
Not yet, because we're kind of on an island here at the facility, but I'm sure once camp breaks and guys start looking for places to live, me and Jihad will kind of be the 2 guys that they target.
Have you heard from Jalen?
Yeah. So he texted me right after the draft. and then met him yesterday for the first time in person. So he's great, and like I was saying earlier, just want to be a sponge around him and soak up as much as I can.
On that note, being from here, I mean, your draft video went viral, and everybody kind of had the exact same emotion, I think, that you and your family did. Has it settled in now, or is it still kind of surreal that you're here with your hometown team?
Not really. It hasn't really settled in, to be honest. And like coming here the past couple days and pulling up to the facility just kind of feels like I'm at like a summer camp or something. Like it doesn't really feel like I'm part of the team. But I'm sure once we start getting into practices and spending more time, it's going to start to sink in. But yeah, I mean, right now it still is crazy.
What's your plan with Jalen? Like, how do you want to start picking his brain? Do you want to ask a bunch of questions or let him come to you?
I think a little bit of both. When I was at Ohio State with CJ, sat behind him for 2 years, it was me asking questions, and he was just an open book, which was nice, and let me sit and watch his preparation, and there wasn't a question that I couldn't ask, and so just kind of feeling it out for what he wants, honestly, and just like I said earlier, just being a sponge, like everything I can pick up from him, I'm gonna try to do that.
What have your early interactions with Scott Leffler been like, and are they still kind of getting to know you, or what's kind of the expectation for you?
Yeah, we go way back. When I was in 8th grade, he was at Boston College, and he offered me a scholarship in 8th grade. So I've known him forever. So, and we've kept in touch too. He's one of the few college coaches that I didn't play for that I would still have a lot of conversation with. And now to be playing for him, I mean, you never know how your paths are going to cross. And so to be, in his first year here, and obviously my first year in the NFL, being together is pretty sweet.
How good were you in 8th?
They finally, like I said, finally got you, or like what's kind of to join up finally?
Yeah, I mean, he was on the draft call, and I mean, there was just so much emotion when I first got the call, and then hearing his voice, I was like, oh man, like that's crazy, seeing how far we've come. I think it was 2017 is when I first met him, and then now, whatever it is, eight years later, reuniting. So it is pretty cool to just kind of see that come full circle. That was, well, he was my first offer, but so he told my high school coach. My high school coach held it for me because he didn't think I deserved it yet, being in 8th grade, which is fair. So I guess technically yes, that was my first offer, but I didn't know about it until a few months later.
How good were you in 8th grade?
I was all right. I mean, I had a strong arm, and my footwork was pretty solid. But I mean, you look back at those videos, and you think you're the best, and there's like so much to clean up. But I was pretty good.
Just find out about it a few months later.
So I didn't start my freshman year at the prep, and after our senior quarterback committed to his school, then my head coach brought me in his office after the season and was like, they offered you back in June, but I feel like now is the time, to tell you. So it kind of felt like, I missed out a little bit, not knowing, but it is a funny story.
You said he was one of the few opposing coaches that kept in touch. How much did you keep in touch over the years?
I mean, just this last year at Syracuse, I think I talked to him maybe 3 times throughout the season, which, I mean, is a good amount for someone who you're not playing for. And, he'd reach out after games and, give advice and congratulate me and stuff like that. And obviously he was still in college too, so we had no idea that it was even a possibility. And then met with him on Zoom when he got the job, sat down, watched some film on Zoom together, but obviously you have no idea where you're going at that point. So, it's crazy to see it come full circle.
How familiar were you with Jihad?
So we weren't the same grade, but obviously being 2 of the bigger recruits in the area, you're pretty familiar with them. So I played in PA, so I never got a chance to play him in high school, but overlapped in a few camps and 7-on-7 circuits. So to see the South Jersey boys come home was pretty cool.
When did you start thinking you could be you're offered a scholarship in 8th grade. When did you start thinking you could be an NFL player?
I would say, I mean, you always have the dream of being in the NFL, but you don't know how realistic it is. And I knew, 7th, 8th grade, that'd be pretty good. But then just as time, went on and you continue to get better and better, that dream becomes more of a reality. And then I'd say once I got to Ohio State and started to hold my own and realized, I'm around first-round picks and NFL starters and, I'm able to compete on that field with them, then, that gave me a good amount of confidence that I'd have an opportunity.
Last one, we got Smael here.
Like you said, there's a lot of contact for coaches not playing, but what do you think fueled that relationship?
I think just my first impression with him in 8th grade was, I was very intentional and loved football, and I think he saw that right away, and I think that's, part of the reason why he offered me so early is that he saw, just my mindset around the game, and I think on top of that too, just I think, being, a quarterback guy and having that opportunity to meet so early, it's cool to kind of see that relationship develop. And so I'm thankful that he kept in touch because, obviously not a lot of coaches do that. But I think, you probably have to ask him, why I saw. But it's cool to see that relationship come full circle.
Myles, what was a draft night like for you, going on the third day? What was the expectation going into the draft? Were you
Yeah, talking to my agent, he was saying third day was probable, so I wasn't really stressing out that much. But everything is God's plan, so I was kind of just going with the flow. I expected to be picked probably 4th or 5th round, but I feel like wherever I go is meant to be, so I just let it kind of do its thing.
Day one, probably some natural butterflies, but what did your father tell you about this moment? How has he prepped you? To play in the NFL, and especially those early dog days where you're trying to really prove yourself and the coaches are probably riding you.
Yeah, he just said it's gonna be hard. He talked about his career and how he had some coaches that would ride him, and he was just saying you just gotta stick it up, He's also kind of been not he's a man of few words, you know what I'm saying? He'll talk to me when I ask him questions, you know what I'm saying? But it's I always go to him to ask questions, so it's not it's a two-way channel, But it's definitely a good thing, in my opinion.
What's it like being back at Keegan?
It's awesome. It's my dog for sure. My dog, good to have a Michigan connection too, Tanner's here as well from Stanford. He's my quarterback when I was there, so it's just two guys from different schools I was at are both here, so it's just family already,
Did you lean on Trevor at all during the pre-draft process?
Not really. Talked a few times, but I didn't lean on him per se. I'd probably say because in pre-draft I was kind of doing my own thing. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel advice is good for sure, but at the same time everyone experiences it different ways, So I wanted to take it in as I saw it, and kind of just take it day by day.
What was it like? What was it like growing up with your dad? Because he was a pretty good offensive lineman. So
yeah, dude. Funny enough, I didn't really know how good he was until I was probably 13 years old. He didn't talk about it much. But once I started really getting football and playing O-line for real, really understanding what was going on, is when I kind of understood that he was that guy, Started doing some more research on him, watching YouTube videos and whatnot. But yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy.
How did he react whenever you were you're actually pretty good?
He used to say I'm killing out there, But he had a funny story. It's kind of related, but kind of not. But he had a scar on his leg when he broke his leg, and up until I don't know how old I was when I realized he was a fake story, but he was saying he got bit by alligator, and he had to wrestle it out, and I was like, there's no way it's an alligator bite, but it was a surgery scar from when he was playing. But funny story from a kid.
He never told you he was the number 4 overall pick, or?
He did eventually, yeah, but when I was itty bitty, nah. Kind of.
You were born after he was done.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was it like watching his videos and stuff?
Oh, it's super cool. It's super cool to see he was doing that, And he showed me pictures of or videos of him playing in college as well, versus Michigan. And when he was a freshman, he was a tight end. His first game actually was away at the Big House, so that was kind of cool. But to see him play different spots, played linebacker as well in college, played O-line. I think it was last year, and then went 4th overall. But yeah, seeing him also in the league is just he was tearing. So it's just it's big shoes to fill, but I'm ready,
Do you feel any pressure from that? Seems like you're pretty laid back.
Not really. He's also done a really good job with not pressuring us as brothers. My brother and I both, he kind of I commend him for sure because he did a good job with letting us find football on our own, And I love that about him because I know people that have dads that were also in the league that kind of pressured him to play, and it made him have a disdain for the sport, And that's not where I've ever been at. So he let us find it on our own, and I feel like it fostered more love for the sport in general.
When you watched him play, do you see any similarities with your game?
Yeah, for sure. He was super strong, explosive. And I feel like I'm the same way, out there mauling, and I feel like that's what I'm gonna do as well. I started playing when I was 7 years old, so it's kind of
I played it when I was that young just because, like, that's what I did, you know? But, like, as I got older, I kind of, like, started to, like, really realize, like, this is what I'm going to do. And it wasn't, like, a specific – oh, it actually was. I probably say 8th grade. I was playing D-line, actually, at the time. And I was, like, out there, like, bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. So I was like, okay, bet, like, this is really enjoyable, you know, tossing kids around. So after that, I went to a camp that 8th grade year, going 9th grade to a UGA camp. My first offer then. And then that's when I was like, okay, this is like, it's real, you know, this is what I'm going to do, you know, so. Sure.
Do you think one of the reasons he didn't like brag about his career was to not put pressure on you to follow his footsteps?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Marine biologist, what's the background there? What sparked that interest? And is that post football? Is that something you'll do?
Probably post ball. Probably post ball. So like when I was at Stanford, I was doing human biology. So it was mostly just focused on human body. My focus was in the body in motion and neurology. So I was kind of just trying to figure out like the kind of mesh, whatever. But the marine side, I always loved fishing. Always loved fish. So like if I could like kind of mesh the two, like I love biology, I love fish. I could mesh the two, and in a way, post ball that'd be amazing, you know, because I just love fishing the animal too, you know.
Not alligators.
Yeah, no.
Last one.
I honestly couldn't tell you. When I was a kid, I went fishing like I was probably like 5. Oh, my granddad. He passed away since, but ever since then I just like have been hooked on it. I feel like, no pun intended, but yeah. All right.
Yep. Cameron, what are your early impressions of Jeff Stoutland?
I mean, what I thought when he's an amazing coach. He's going to develop me into being the best.
Did you know about him before this process?
So him and Flood were actually like close friends. So Flood he told me everything about Coach Stout. Like during the season, he told me everything about him. Like I already knew everything.
Cameron, what was draft night like for you?
The first 2 nights it was kind of because I thought I was gonna go second, third round, but it didn't go my way. But I ended up here, so it's a blessing to be here. It's God's plan. So.
Like in the moment when you didn't get called early, and what's it been like since then?
Me just trying to work and grind, prove every other team wrong.
Was there a period of time it took you to kind of get over the disappointment?
I was never disappointed. I was just ready to work.
What made you decide to come out after 3 years, especially since you hadn't played a lot your first 2?
I just felt like I was ready, and I felt like if me going to the league, I can just develop myself more and not have to worry about the school part and just keep developing myself to being the best.
Sorry.
No, you good.
You played primarily on the right side of the line. Do you think you could move over to the left at some point?
Yes, sir. And at Texas, I played left tackle, but it was only at practice. Like, it was playing left tackle and right tackle my sophomore and freshman year. So I feel like I can play any position he puts me at.
About guard, is that something that you can? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Getting the ability to play with Lane Johnson, a player like that, and Jordan Mailata, who've had such success, what does that mean for your potential development?
It's a blessing. I mean, I've been watching Lane Johnson since I was like sophomore year of high school. Just being being able to just play, like playing in front, like just watching him play is a blessing.
What's something that he does that really stands out to you?
His length and his pass protection is just, and his quick feet is just amazing.
You mentioned, being willing to come to the NFL and develop over time. What are some of the areas that you feel like you do need to develop?
My feet work, my pad level, me punching, me trying to punch more. That's really about it. Really my technique.
It sounds like you did a lot of work behind the scenes the past 2 years to cut your weight, get into better shape. What did you do to get to that point?
Really just staying with the nutritionist. He gave me a diet, and I just stuck with it.
What areas of your game made you feel like you are pro ready?
My size, length, and my pass protection. I feel like it's amazing.
Truman Cooper, what kind of relationship did you have with him at all last year?
We were cool, like we were friends and stuff. We talked, like I didn't really talk to him as much, but like we were cool teammates. So.
You say you can move into guard. Have you ever done guard before at high school level? Or?
I played guard freshman year of high school when I moved up to varsity. Then I played guard sophomore year, Texas, in the spring game. I was at right guard.
Did you ever line up against more drama in practice?
Oh yeah, we went at it a lot of times.
Any fun memories about that matchup, or how well did you know more?
I knew him a lot. I knew him well. I mean, only thing about Morrow was he'll try to look at our signal during practice, and he'll try to play our plays, try to go, yeah.
Did Jihad line up? You went out on the edge sometimes. Did you ever have to block him when you guys played each other?
Who you say?
Jihad Campbell.
I didn't play when we played against each. I didn't play Bama.
You didn't play Bama at all?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah. I mean, he was there for like 4 or 5 years, so he knew it by heart.
You tell him, like, look, man, I know you know what's coming, but
we'll still go at it though. Yeah, we'll still go at it.
Mekhi Becton played here last year, moved down from tackle to guard. Are you aware of his story at all?
Not really, not that much. Is that 77? Or yeah. Coach Stoutland was talking about it the other day. He was like, he was a great left tackle, but he moved him to right tackle and he loved it. I mean, right guard and he loved it. Yeah.
Think that might be a future for you at guard, maybe?
I mean, it's God's plan. Wherever I play, I mean, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna be successful at it. Doesn't matter.
Take a few more. Cam, what did you know about Philadelphia before you got here, and what have you learned since you got here?
That it's an amazing program. That family is everything here, and that they just won the Super Bowl last year.
Is there any level of intimidation or nervousness coming in, knowing that that is the level of success at this program? I mean, the bar is very, very high.
Yeah, it's kind of nervous, but I don't really get nervous. I try to feed off nervousness. I try to feed off intimidation and all that. I like to eat off that.
Hey, Antwaun, we didn't talk to you after the draft. Were you surprised you lasted, into the 6th round especially after a productive season at Virginia Tech?
I mean, I didn't really think about it like that. I'm just blessed with the opportunity. Didn't really care about what round I got drafted. As long as I got on the team, that's all that mattered to me.
How did you spend draft weekend, and where were you when you got the call?
I was out in Portsmouth, Virginia, my hometown. I was spending time those first 3 days, those only 3 days. I was out with my family, just chilling at the house, just enjoying the moment, really, just waiting on the call.
Did you have any indication of Eagles' interest pre-draft?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, are you saying, like, as far as the team?
Yeah, as far as the team, contact, anything.
Yeah, I had a meeting with them on Zoom at one point, and, just spoke, about football, and they kind of tested, as much as I know football, who I am as a person.
What unlocked things for you last year that you were able to have that much success on the field?
I'll probably just say being comfortable a little more in the system. I came in a little short. I had to come straight in the fall camp, and the first year that I was at Virginia Tech and try to get it as fast as I could. And, I was able to settle down the second year and take off.
How do you think your skills and everything will translate to the NFL level?
I think it'll translate real good, especially going into this program because they know exactly what I like to do, and of course they like what I do. So,
what are your first impressions of Jeremiah Washburn?
I mean, he's definitely a great guy. Definitely glad that he gets to coach me. He's very straight to the point, which is good. He's going to tell you exactly what it is to be successful, and not only on the field, but just how to go around in the program and how to be a part of the Eagles.
How do you get to a point? How do you get to a point mentally where you don't care where you get drafted? And I mean, so many guys fret over what round, even what pick. How did you get there?
For the most part, it's just I love the game. It's not really. As long as I get a shot, that's all I need. I'm not really worried about what it is that, how big my arms are or, how big I am. I'm a ball player. You cut on the tape, you're going to see it. So, I'm just happy with the opportunity.
You had 9 forced fumbles over the past 3 years. Is that something that was emphasized from coaching? Like, what goes into that for you as a player, getting the ball out?
Yeah, definitely an emphasis on coaching, and not only that, that's definitely something that I wanted to do as well. I wanted to give the offense as many opportunities as they could to score. So, my mind was definitely on that ball.
You did things that only Bruce Smith did at Virginia Tech. How aware were you of Bruce Smith when you got there, and did you meet him, and what's his impact on you at all?
Yeah, I met Bruce Smith when I was in high school, and we didn't really talk much while I was in high school, but when I came to Virginia Tech, he was probably one of the first guys to welcome me, and, you know, we talked fairly amount after that, like a really good amount of time. And it was times where he told me I could text him, you know, record some stuff and ask him, you know, advice on whatever it is that I had. So I definitely got a good relationship with Bruce, and he also kept in contact with me over this draft process, you know, just letting me know you know, when it's time to get into the program, you know, just be ready to work.
What's the best advice you got from him?
I would say, as far as like pass rushing, he told me when I had first got there, he was like, don't ever waste a rep, you know, no matter what, not just pass rush, but, you know, don't ever waste a rep. We were talking pass rush because, you know, it's not many chances that you get to rush the passer. So, you know, just making sure I keep that mentality that, you know, I got to go at all times.
You played against Syracuse and Kyle last year. You got a sack with him. Do you guys have any sort of relationship, or did you know him coming in?
Not really. I didn't really know him coming in, but of course, by us playing, we definitely recognized each other, and we went to the East-West Shrine Bowl together too. So we definitely conversated a couple times, and you know, when we came in, you know, it was definitely all love, you know, smiles, and we talked about that game as well. You know, just talking about ball.
Brandon Graham.
Do a couple more.
Brandon Graham just retired here, but is he somebody you've been aware of? Is he someone that you've talked to since?
I haven't spoke with him yet, but I'm definitely aware of him. You know, it's Brandon Graham. You know, especially being here at the Eagles is great. Having it's a high standard here, so having to follow those footsteps, I'm definitely ready for the challenge.
Along those lines, I mean, you probably will get the chance at some point this summer to go against Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata. What kind of things do you think you can learn from those guys, and how much do you think that would help you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, not only their technique, but the mindset and how they view the game as far as the other side. You know, and you know, just mainly the things that they do to be successful. I would like to know the things that they do, so when it comes to opposing offensive tackles, you know, I'll know how to control it.
You know, sometimes people point out the negatives to that, but you know, being undersized, does that give you any advantages when it comes to rushing?
For sure. I mean, because they say I'm undersized, so it's nothing for me to really be as low as most people could be. So you know, being able to go against those tackles is definitely with my advantage because they're a lot bigger than me.